Sorry, now, actually, it was muted,
Oh, okay.
so Richard didn't get your introductions.
Just kidding.
Two.
We'll quickly go around. So anyway.
All right, Chris McGuire, Principal, Mount Anthony Middle School.
Adam Carmichael, still principal at high school.
Took my line. Susan Payson, still a board member.
Scott McEnany, board member.
Tim Payne, superintendent.
Stephanie Mulligan, board member.
Sandy Foster, board member.
Glenn Thurber, board member.
Kristen Olmsted, board member.
Dave Frederickson, board member.
Katie Aiken, board member.
Nelson Brownell, board member.
Okay, great. And there's still no other board members online. Richard's there. We will start with public comments. Do you have anybody online that's public?
I don't see any hands being raised.
Okay, with no public comments, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have minutes, warrants, retirements, leave of absence, resignation, and nominations. Can I have a motion to move all as presented?
I moved.
Second.
Can I have a sec? So we have a motion by Susan, second by Glenn. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? We will move on to number 3, finance, the treasurer's report of September 25th, or I'm sorry, September for 2025. Can I have a motion to approve this treasurer's report?
So moved.
Okay, so
Scott.
motion by Scott, second by Glenn. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we have a donation onto a team field trip. There is an action requested.
I'll move to accept.
Okay, we have a motion to accept.
So move, a second.
By Scott, second by Susan. Is there any discussion? All in favor? We have operations,
No report.
no report, okay. Any reports on policies? I think it says none. We'll move on to the administrators' reports. We have student representatives.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have again with us tonight. We have one of our juniors, Althea Radosia here, and she's gonna take the lead for us on report.
Yeah, as he said, I'm Althea. I'm one of the student reps. I guess, partner, Chloe, she can't be here tonight. She has a game. But at the high school, things have been pretty quiet recently. Oops. Except for homecoming, which was I think October 4th. And we sold, I think, roughly 400 tickets, and so it was a big success. Other events that have happened recently, MCLA came on October 10th to talk to juniors and seniors about the college admissions process. And like for future events, we have a craft fair on November 1st, which is I think from 9 to 3. And I think the first quarter also ends like November 3rd, right? Yeah. Sports are also coming to a close. We have a lot of senior nights going on right now. Tonight, for example, is girls volleyball, and tomorrow is girls soccer. Clubs, we have a new club at the high school. We have film club, which is supervised by Mr. Jenkin. If any of your kids go to MAU, it's really fun. Encourage them to come. We need more people. Student Senate is hosting a trivia night on October 3rd, and they're also planning a volleyball tournament. Also, just a reminder, the track performances are November 13th, 14th, and 15th. And it's a musical, and so it's gonna be really big, and there's a huge cast. It's really fun. It's always fun. Please come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are any questions, we'll move on to the high school administrator report, Principal Carmichael.
Thank you, Althea. Shut this off there. 2 points. Sorry.
Thank you.
So I'll try not to repeat any of Althea's points, but just a few highlights to share. You mentioned homecoming week came to an end with the dance on Saturday. We also hosted a field day on Friday for students. We ran a half-day schedule, and in the afternoon, provided a nice barbecue lunch and field day activities for the students to participate in, along with our traditional pep rally out on the football field. So really nice to have the afternoon. Students, go out, have fun, see their friends. There's a lot of positive energy, it's a good time for all. So that was nice. And thanks to the cheerleaders and their coach Jordan Upright and really the Upright family, along with Bennington Police Department for supporting both the field day and the homecoming dance. Partnerships were really essential to making that all a success. Some other things that have happened recently, our unified soccer team traveled to Norwich University for a tournament last week on October 7th. And so I know that was a great opportunity for those students to get out of the Bennington area and go and show their skills. Some other sports related news, girls varsity golf placed second in Division I. 2 members of the team will be going to the New England Golf Tournament at the end of October. And we got an update, all fall sports teams are making playoffs this season. So very excited for the success of our teams. German exchange program. This is a big one that we're very proud of. It's now in its 3rd consecutive year at our school, coordinated by our German and Spanish teacher, Dylan Wada. So 10 German high school students, along with 2 of their teachers, arrived here on October 6th, and they'll be with us until October 18th, staying with 10 local host families. While they're here, they're attending classes, they're going on visits to area attractions like Mass MoCA, Clark Art. While they're here, they're also collaborating with Bennington College students to, their focus this trip is studying some water issues in our community, including PFAS contamination. Working with one of our science teachers, Jordan Burke, to do some water lab studies. They visited the Bennington wastewater treatment plant. So it's a really great opportunity to bring them over, visit our school, but also our community, and do some good work while they're here. To finish the program off at the end of the school year, 10 of our high school students and 3 teachers will then travel to Germany June 17th through July 4th to have a mirrored experience over there with their school. In addition, we have the Bennington Rising program, which began just yesterday. Bennington College and high school students are working together on science-related projects. Half of those groups will end up teaching some of these science lessons to Bennington elementary students. The other half will create projects that will be displayed at Bennington Museum. There's a gala event at Bennington Museum to celebrate this work on November 20th. So mark your calendars for that. Great. Looking ahead, next week, just a reminder, we have a half day next Wednesday, October 22nd. Again, dismissal for students is at 11:05. In the afternoon, we'll be running teacher in service, SVSU Data Day. Also, an event happening during that day, there's going to be a community conversation around cannabis. This is coordinated by Glauca Koymans, our prevention coordinator for MAU. Along with support from some of our MAU students who are part of what's called the Choice Group, helping support making healthy choices. So that will be a speaker named Tom Fontana from UVM. He'll be coming and doing a student presentation at our school for the high school students in the morning of that half day. There will also be a community event next Wednesday evening from 6 to 7 p.m. in our auditorium. Anybody interested in joining us for that? And looking ahead to the end of the month, there will be a youth risk behavior survey data seminar on October 30th at Castleton University. This is in collaboration with Up for Learning. We have both middle and high school students joining that group. They're traveling to Castleton and they're reviewing some of that survey data for Bennington County as a whole. Working together to identify some root causes and potential solutions based on that survey. Lots of good things going on.
Great, thank you. Any questions?
So since it's high school time, I want to thank the high school for stepping up. We have 35 volunteers coming for trunk or treat between the cheerleaders and the Interact Club. Had to hold back the Interact Club. They got a little ambitious.
Yeah.
The whole little too, they wanted 7 trunks. Like, could you do 5? But yes, thank you. They're doing great.
Well, thanks for bringing attention to that. 'Cause I make my bullet point list.
Yeah.
There's always things that get left off. So.
If I can just add one, the football team and the, the work toward, or the working with the community veterans, last Friday, I thought was a really, really great outreach and, a great way for the kids to interact with that important group within our community in a meaningful way. And I know we had a couple of kids who were there watching and both came home and commented on that. So kudos to the coaching and the staff for putting that together. I thought it was a great effort.
I was slightly late to the game, but I sat directly next to the veterans and I missed the presentation because they came up into the stands, which I saw on Facebook, I think afterwards. But those veterans had such a great time. They totally were loving it. We're loving it. It's great.
Thanks for bringing attention to that.
Anything else? We will move on to the middle school administrators report. McGuire.
Thank you. All right, so I am going to start with a little hiring update. I think this update will round us off as being fully hired, so it's an exciting update. I want to welcome Michael Bombard, who is a school-based clinician supporting our Champlain intervention program. Erica Crowers, who has just been hired as a school-based clinician in the school as well. And Tamra Christopher, who has just been hired as a paraeducator. And so those are 3 new hires in the building. They're all bringing great energy, been with us for, anywhere from a couple days to a couple weeks between the 3 of them. And they're just been a pleasure to have all 3 of them. They've been great. So thank you to them. And like I said, it's a nice little, rounding out the hiring for the middle school at this time. I had a note on Tom Fontana as well, which Mr. Carmichael already talked about a little bit. Glaucoma Coyman's our prevention coordinator for MAU, has done a lot of legwork and all of the legwork, I will say on my end anyways, in making this happen and communicating with administration. We have kind of tapped into, having him in the community. As Adam said, he's going to be doing a community night on Wednesday, the 22nd from 6 to 7. Adam already talked about that, but we are having him also come to the school and speak to 7th and 8th grade students respectively. So in 2 different assemblies. Again, he's the alcohol and cannabis and other drugs initiative manager at UVM. So he comes pretty highly touted. I think we're lucky to have him come to the community. And this came from a need based on the youth risk behavior survey data that, indicated that, a high number of students were reporting using cannabis. And so we were trying to respond to that need. The choice group that Adam touched upon, a middle school group that, takes a look at youth risk behavior survey data and then plans some action steps and really does the work in a leadership capacity on figuring out initiatives to mitigate, some of those, unhealthy or risky behaviors. And if you haven't heard the choice group present or speak, you really should try to catch them. They're really a very impressive group year after year. And they've presented to the Bennington Select Board with great reviews. Yep, they've presented at previous community nights, introducing guest speakers and such at MAUMS to pretty large groups, audiences. And they've also presented or introduced some speakers for past student assemblies that we've had to, 200 plus, students at a time. So they're a pretty impressive group and they're, doing introductions and for Tom and also, talking a little bit about what they do. So it's a cool thing if you ever get a chance to see them in any venue. It's their impressive group. My main thing that I wanted to talk about, I have a little handout that I'd like to pass around for you guys. There's two. I hope I have enough copies. It's Mr. Kelly Brooks's fault if I do not. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He's a great guy. So you're gonna have two things. Melissa laughed at me, sorry.
If there's extras.
Yeah, I think I might be a little short and I apologize. I can get more for anyone if you'd like them. So the first one coming around is our 21st century after school program experiences funded by our 21st C grant. The second pamphlet coming around is our clubs and activities. So they're all after school programs that we run currently in the building. But they're kind of under two different funding sources, if you will, and we do kind of roll them out differently. So that one's the clubs and activities one. And so just a couple, well, never mind. You guys can take a look. I was gonna reference one of them, but you're good. So for clubs and activities, we started those a week prior. We have about my current enrollment is about 511 students. So for clubs and that just gives you a little frame. So clubs and activities, we have currently 104 students staying after school to partake in clubs and activities. And you can take a look at the various, wow, you might have really hit it right on the head with the number of copies. He's pretty good actually there. So you can take a look at the wide, array of offerings. There's a lot of different things there. And when you look at both of them, it's a pretty impressive list. I'm really proud of it. And I give Kelly Brooks, all joking aside, like a lot of credit for what he's done to kind of, I would say streamline the process by which we sign students up for clubs and activities and after school programs. He does everything from sending home the information to families, collecting signups, creating rosters, communicating with the teachers that are and the people that are running the programs. So clubs and activities, 104 students currently participating. That's the yellow pamphlet, so you can see some of those offerings. For athletics, we also have 108 students staying after regularly, taking part in athletics. So that's 212 students just between clubs and activities and athletics that are engaging in something after school. So it's a good number, 511 students. And that's not even counting the students that are signing up for the 21st century grant. And the grant is actually called 21st Century Community Learning Centers Grant. I wanted to articulate that whole thing. And we're anticipating anywhere from, another 50 to 100 students signing up and staying after school for those. So I think, once we get those signups are in the process right now, by I think next week, we'll have students staying after and those clubs, the experiences under the grant taking place. And so we should have, around 300 students roughly engaging in after school program. Which I'm again, really, I've said it a couple times, I'm really proud of that. You can also look at busing in the pamphlet. So it has in both of the pamphlets. So students do have options to get home. We have several bus stops that span all the way through the district. There are stops added to this list. Sometimes kids go to Kelly. He works with with central office and the bus garage, and they try to they make things work so we can get kids home. Any student not staying after because of transportation. That is, I think, pretty much what I got today. Just on a total random side, talked about the half day next week, said your dismissal time, middle school dismissal for the half day is 11:15. Just want to throw that in there too. Questions?
Comment. There's all kind of good things that you folks are talking about. Don't we have someone that's supposed to let the community know about this? Twice at the banner, 2 days in a row, it was right on the front page, but it seems like there's all kind of good stuff that we should be sending out and letting people know that good things are happening.
I agree. Yeah, and I can talk to Kelly and he and I can work together, get in touch with Katie West and, you know, try to work on getting some more PR going on that for sure.
Yeah, likewise.
Kudos to Kelly, because having run one of these programs in another SU, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work and he's, you know, and he's a full-time behavior interventionist, as you can also relate to, but he's a workhorse and he's doing some amazing stuff and kids gravitate to him. And so, you know, there's something infectious about that, you know, where it's like, you know, Mr. Brooks is the guy coordinating these and he just really pulls kids in. I really wanna bring him to a meeting. I've said that before. I really want to bring him, maybe some students to a meeting in the near future and talk a little bit about, you know, what they're doing in programs. Probably wait until they get into them, you know, for a month or two, just so, you know, they have a good sample size to draw from. But thank you for that, Dave. That's, yeah, agreed.
Because I want to go to the robotics class.
Yeah, I don't, it's been really like, there's been really fun.
That scares me to a certain degree.
And why it scares you.
See some of the high schoolers
Yeah.
are putting together.
Yeah, it's
Might be
cool.
scary a little bit.
They didn't have that when I was in school.
Impress you as well.
Great. Any other questions? We'll move on to the superintendent's report.
So there's a couple of opportunities to share information this evening. I wanted to start with Adam. There is a request from Southwest Tech for the MAU board to recognize embedded credits. This is past practice for this board. We have a good partnership with Southwest Tech. They offer programs, and within the program, if students complete a period of time, they can earn high school credit by going through the program. So I've asked Adam just to, if you could just quickly cover the request. And then in the past, we've asked the board to make a motion and support that going forward.
When did that end? When did it end? Because I know that was a practice of this.
I think we've done,
We don't do it every year.
Oh, it's year by year.
They'll come to us when they've made progress on something they feel like they can address.
Okay.
So it's not a yearly thing necessarily.
So there's requests from two instructors in two different courses. Requests from their video and TV production course to improve an art credit after successful completion of first year of video and TV production. Based on, there's a lot here, the syllabus and assignments and things like that we can go through. But basically, there's a lot of work on design, layout, video editing, and photography in that first year of that course. And so strong belief that students who can successfully complete that should be awarded an art credit. Also, the culinary program is looking to award an art credit after successful completion of 2 years of that course. Again, provided quite a bit of evidence to support this request. But to summarize, a lot of work related to cake decorating, pastry making, plating of dishes along the way there. So that is their request.
Is that one credit after 2 years?
For the culinary program,
Yeah.
looking for 1 art credit after
After 2
2 years. For the video and TV production course, they're requesting 1 art credit after successful completion of the first year of that program.
Need a motion?
We-
for that?
we-
I'd be happy to make that.
And I would second it.
so a motion by Glenn, second by Susan. Is there discussion around this request?
It is called culinary arts for a reason, right? So.
I'm hungry, thanks.
Well, now
I know, me too. I'm just thinking the same.
You can see the food.
Sports-
that they-
sports snacks.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
I guess my question is, do you feel that these are reasonable? I mean, this seems
Very
reasonable.
much
Do you feel it-
Very much so. This board in the past has supported it. The Southwest Tech does a very good job of documenting how they feel they met the standards, and I feel it exceeds it. So it's a very reasonable request.
if anybody's curious, it's just culinary, you want some reading material supporting the request.
Well, we have a motion on the table to approve the request. Any other discussion? All in favor?
I,
Okay.
Gonna abstain.
I'm also going to abstain.
And you're gonna abstain. Okay, sounds good. So Kristen abstained and Scott abstained, on, 'cause the vote. Motion carries.
Our next piece of information for you is it is my pleasure to have Director Melissa Senical here, Curriculum Instruction and Assessment, along with Director Renee Gordon, Finance. They are going to present two pieces of information. This goes along with our ongoing process. In August, we talked about staffing. In October, we talked about, or in September, we talked about buildings. This month is student achievement, along with a little bit of information around title or grants. Next month, we'll be coming back to you to talk about student services. All of this hopefully will help inform you as you participate in building a budget and putting it forward to the community in November, December, and January. So Melissa will start tonight with student achievement, and then Renee will show you how grants are used to drive our effort to reach those goals that Melissa will outline. I have extras too, if you need me to pass those out.
I'm sure some people in the room have extras too. So this is for the Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union, the global, for people who've seen this before, maybe they're SVSU, ESD. Please note that the last page does pertain just to the two MAU schools. So you might want to take it just for that last page. And for anyone who is watching who would like to reference this back, you would find this on svsu.org about us and reports. And if it's not there right now, which it might be, right, Renee? It will be there by tomorrow, so you'll be able to reference this again. Again, we go big picture of our continuous improvement plan goals for the Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union, but please note that the last page that I'll reference in a moment was done by the two different buildings from last spring's data, setting their goals for this current year. So the sources, I think it's really important for you all to know from that first page. I documented the sources and the dates of the data and when it was pulled. I always have to reference all of those acronyms. You can see that we've got acronyms for assessment data for academics, our NWEA, and our FastBridge are two examples. IXL for math is a great progress monitoring tool. For social emotional behavior, you'll hear a lot in a moment about the SRSSIE. That's a systematic risk screening scale that we do for externalizing and internalizing behaviors. That was given to us, vetted by the University of Kansas. And then you'll also in a moment hear about the treatment integrity and social validity. That was given to us by the University of Kansas, and that's how are we doing with our MTSS or multi-tier systems of support. So those are just some of those acronyms that you'll hear along the way to reference. But in order to get them to learn, we have to have them here. So we wanted to give you the data about how our students are doing with the Vermont AOE definition of chronic absenteeism. We gave you all schools exactly what happened in the poll of chronic absenteeism in May of 2024, and that was 315 students. Then through tons of work, and I thank all of you in the community for funding things that were done like hours for guidance leadership teams to talk about attendance and truancy protocols. That was local funding. Thank you all. And then those regularly scheduled leadership teams with community partners. That's local funding. Thank you all, because the impact that it's had was right there. So last May we pulled every single school had a decrease. So they went in the positive direction for having kids avoid that idea of chronic absenteeism. There is still more work to do, but we are making progress everywhere. Going on to our continuous improvement plan goal number 1, safe and healthy. I did dive into the what is internalizing behaviors and what are externalizing behaviors. I gave some examples so you can see, oh, that's the kind of thing that a screener, and again, a staff member that really knows the student through that vetted tool given to us would say, oh, yeah, I see a lot of these kinds of observable behaviors, either internalizing or externalizing. And so I mentioned before, one of the questions that we had to ask with goal number 1 is, do our schools implement the multi-tier systems of supports for all students? And we set the goal by 2027 of 80% or higher would be the score on that We left last spring at 78, more than 78%. We're very close. We're very close. Then we wanted to say, do we have most of our students at very low or no risk for those internalizing behaviors? Again, the examples are right there for you to see what those are. And that is an area that we're focusing on. You can see why this year that we're focusing on it, because our goal is at 70% to have low or no risk. And last spring, we were at 58%. So we want to make sure we have more kids at low or no risk for those internalizing behaviors. How about externalizing behaviors? You can see examples of what those are. We want to have at least 70%, and we were at 63%, almost 64. We want to keep on going math, my math teacher over there. But we did better on that particular subset. So some examples, again, I mentioned that I want to thank all of you in the community and the board for funding title funds for that ongoing professional learning for best practices for classroom management. The professional learning committee said in last year that they wanted September half day to be completely focused on SEL, and it was across the district. And so the kind of funding that we have here pays for those kinds of things, because we were able to not have to go out to externally find anybody to come in and do that. It was our trained people from within. So we paid for their time and they were able to do that. And the feedback has been excellent. It'll be reviewed by the professional learning committee next Monday. Goal number 2 is an academic goal. It's English language arts, reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And we want to make sure that most of our students in grade 3 have those foundational literacy skills. That makes it really nice, so that then we get into the secondary schools, that they're not lagging behind, that they're working on things like vocabulary and comprehension. And they have all of that fluency and phonics already solid. And the elementaries are making excellent progress with that. We set a goal for next 2027 at 65. We were at 61% last year. So our Vermont kids are reading. How about our grade level proficiency? Again, that's at grade level. How are they doing with their national grade level peers? And that includes, of course, both of our schools right here. We set the goal by 2027 of at least 60% would be meeting or exceeding their own national grade level peers. We were at 56%. And what about their growth? Every kid can grow, no matter where they fall on that continuum. And we want to make sure they make up that national growth, and our kids are growing, almost hitting that 60% goal. I am commonly asked, and I can finally bring it to you. So how are our kids doing compared to everyone in Vermont? For the most recent results that I can give to you, I apologize that that's right in that way right there.
Oh,
But
maybe you can
grab it. I don't know if you can grab it on your screen and move it or not. I apologize for there. Oh. Well, then I don't know if I held there. There you go. I'm gonna stop because I'm boring some people who've already seen this. I can show you that we are right on par with Vermont for rating English and language arts. We want to get to meeting, but we are approaching right now for the last few years. Again, these are the most recent results that we have. We hope to have last spring's results soon. I can only tell you so. I check every day. So I want to thank everyone in this room for helping to fund, if you're listening and you're voted for our budgets, and everyone in this room who worked so hard on them, because the kind of things that we were able to do, and they're happening in the school right now. We're using some title funding for some Sims training that's happening at our high school. I know it's not up there, but I wanted to be specific to our buildings that we're looking at right here. And that's helping us with ELA. And we are also having ongoing coaching for literacy strategies. And that's for all schools too, because we have an adolescent module that teaches our teachers about adolescent acquisition of literacy. And so that's gone through to make sure all of our teachers have that strong basis in what would be, if you come tomorrow night for Act 139, Read Vermont, you would see how well we are doing as a district to align, and you can see how well we're doing. It's showing that our kids are growing. How about goal number 3, which is academic proficiency in math? We want to look at that national grade level peers in math, that's proficiency. And we want to also look at Mr. Payne's very favorite, growth. And that's the national norm growth rates. In math, we wanted to have at least 60% meeting that proficiency. We were at 43, but our kids are growing. Our kids are growing. They're closer to that 60% with 53. And we continue to see that the line goes up as we follow them as they bounce back from what was COVID. And so how are we doing compared to the rest of the state with mathematics? Again, we are on par with approaching. I would thank you with mathematics for some of the things that we were able to do. We have some local funds that are covering both schools, mathematics first instruction that is tied directly to the standards that we have, which are tied directly to the testing that our students would have, both with the SATs and with the VTCAP. So that's very beneficial, and our assessment tools to know how we're doing. That's local funds. Goal number 4, academic proficiency of science. This one is all tied to how they do on that state test. And I wanted to show you that what we wanted to have is meeting the scale score, which is an average score, typical performance of a person on a group on a test relative to the larger group comparison, should be in the range of 2.76 to 3.65. And this is an area that we are focusing on a lot this year, and you can see why as I gathered and showed the data. We were at last spring, at the last time we were just a little bit off approaching. Just a little bit off approaching, and where we want to get is above approaching into meeting. But you can see, instead of showing you the circles, that's why I gave you the numbers. That's what the numbers show you. The numbers show you that we need to make some growth in science. And when we dug deeper, and when I say we, I list up there the local funds that I thank you that our district science curriculum teams looked at for prioritizing standards and looking at the scores. They knew some areas to highlight and to focus on this year. I thank Principal Carmichael for talking about the very first one listed there, and that's where he's talking about Bennington Rising. So that's funded by title funds. The people are funded to go and do that work by title funds. Those science lessons that our science teachers with our science students at MAU and Bennington College students are going to be ours to then share, not just at Bennington Elementary soon, but at every elementary as we try to improve. And we want to grow that small seed that's just starting with our high school students and our high school teachers going and doing some science within our elementary classrooms. In addition, we are very, very close, and you can sign up for it if you'd like. It's an elementary course in STEM or robotics training for elementary school teachers. And so that's going to be done with title funding. But again, what we want to do is we really want to focus and help our elementary school teachers with science. And that's what looking at that so that it gets stronger and stronger as they get into middle school and high school. And for those teachers that are content specific. Again, when you think about elementary school teachers, their contents are not specific to just science necessarily. Some are, but not all are. At the secondary level, they are. And so we want to make sure it's a level playing field, and our elementary school teachers have the professional learning. And so we really want to give them the time and focus to do that. And then last but not least, because you know you love hearing my voice, the goal number 5 for a continuous improvement plan is proficiency. This is all so focused on gathering data from these 2 schools in the secondary school of Northton. But these 2 schools, as we sit in this room. And so the question we want to ask is, how are our students doing with our PLPs or personalized learning plans? How are our students doing with our flexible pathways? And what about those opportunities that we're giving our kids for flexible pathways? Wow, did our schools hit it out of the park? And I'll show you in a minute what I mean by that. That's how we're doing compared to the rest of Vermont. We are meeting the last time that they called our data. So I'll stop to say that I did highlight some things that we're doing, but if I could just maybe ask Principal Carmichael to identify some of those things, those great things are happening at your school.
Yeah, so just a couple of the key things that we do to encourage personalization, flexible pathways at the high school. One of the big ones I would highlight is our community-based learning program run by Allison Brigham. We have a lot of students involved in that program, and they talk to each other. They get excited about being part of that program, going out into the community, working with our community partners, and getting that like real world firsthand experience in different professions, right? In addition, we have our early college program, so students while they're still attending high school, an opportunity to take some college courses and get credit for that. Really opens up some doors for them going forward.
And I would take a moment to highlight the work of Hannah Green at the middle school and the career exploration that she has done for many, many years at that school. It all feeds into having our kids starting to think about and explore their careers and what they're going to do after high school. So again, I leave you with the very last page, which will be up in SDSU about us and reports if you want to come back to it at any point. But these goals would be ending this year, and they are from the data that were done in both of these schools. And you can see that we have a social emotional behavior goal, a literacy goal, and a math goal. And so it's that mini goal as they get to 2027, and we keep on growing. So thank you and your teachers and everybody and both of you in your buildings, all of your staff are making this kind of growth happen. I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Question,
Absolutely.
is there gonna be a report like this on physical fitness levels and obesity?
So I'm still watching to see if Vermont adopts SHAPE, the test that goes along with those PE standards. And we've been watching that. The PE teachers, all came together this summer. Again, thank you, local funds. And they have been looking at what's coming. Right now, all they've done is changing the standards. We've not got back to having that fitness test. That was 3 years ago. That was the last time that they did a fitness test that went up on the state report card. So I'm watching for that.
Renee,
Questions are good? Okay.
thank you again, Melissa.
No, thank you all for listening so much. Twice.
So Renee, do you mind if I do the quick introduction? So I appreciate Melissa's report to kind of tell you where kids are in a snapshot district-wide. Renee's piece this evening is to show you how we use grant funds to support increasing student achievement in ELA, mathematics, social emotional learning. This is timely because given the uncertainty at the federal level, as far as grant funding and educational reform, also the pretty lively discussion at the state level, which has a piece of it as finance as well. This is important, I think, for the board to understand how much money is actually comes into the SBSU and what it supports. And I appreciate Renee trying to get this down to 2 pages, which was my ask. So I appreciate that. It's a lot, but I just thought it'd be a good starting point for the board as we move into budget building.
So what I have up on the screen is included in the board packet. And Mr. Payne does have hard copies. I don't know if anybody wants a hard copy.
Does everybody have one? We passed them out for.
Okay. So what I have up on the screen is actually page 1, and off to the very right is just the FTEs on page 3. So the way that I structured this is pages 1 and 2. So the front and back are giving you the dollar figures of grants, showing what we have had from FY 24, 25, and then this current year's allocations. Pages 3 and 4 are giving you the FTEs associated with those grants. So what I have up on the screen, starting with Title 1A, 2A, and 4A, collectively, these are known as Consolidated Federal Program. The unique thing with these titles is that we can actually take them in the grant application and combine them together to support consolidated administration and school-wide programs. To be eligible for a school-wide program, you have to have a low income threshold, and with all of our schools in the SVSU, all of our schools do meet that threshold. So all of our schools, all 10 schools, do participate in school-wide programming. What I also wanted to point out in the FY26 column for titles 1, 2, and 4, you have in small italics there. We are required to share these federal funds with students that are actually going to independent schools in our areas. So that's the amount of money that we have going to those schools that comes out of those pockets. So Title I, in addition to consolidated administration and school-wide, it supports our children at greatest need. We have tutoring. We have homeless transportation and supplies coming out of Title I funds. We also use Title I funds to support parent and family engagement nights at the schools. Title II really focuses on professional development. So we have coaches, SU level coaches in ELA and math that are being funded out of Title II, plus a lot of professional development going on. And then Title IV, it has kind of 3 pillars. It focuses on safe and healthy schools, well-rounded education, and effective use of technology. So this is really supporting social, emotional, and positive behavior supports, as well as that personalization work going on. So with those 3 titles, these are the positions, and you can see over the corner. I'm sorry, I don't know how to get rid of that little thing up there in the corner. I grayed out the FTEs that have been zeroed out essentially from FY24 to 25 and then to 26. The money that we're getting hasn't increased a lot, but we have seen expenses increase, right? So our salaries are increasing, our benefit costs are increasing. So we're not able to do as much with that funds because they're shrinking because of the increasing costs. The other thing is that anybody who's being funded through Title and is participating in the Vermont teacher retirement system, legislation was passed a few years ago to help support teacher retirement, sustain that retirement system. And currently this year, 25.47% goes directly to teacher retirement. So if I have, a teacher making $70,000, I have to carve 25.47% of that, and that goes directly to teacher retirement. So some of the funds we're actually trying to move more staff that are funded through municipal retirement into the grants and then get teachers into local funds. So we're not basically supporting the teacher retirement system. In addition to well, yes, I can show you too. So the school-wide, the consolidated funds here kind of in the middle. A portion of the assistant superintendent and our early education administrator, director of early education, have been funded there, as well as our school-wide interventionists. And some of our schools have coaches as well. That school-wide equity and climate position was one up in Arlington that we could no longer support, again, just because of the shrinking funds because of increasing costs, essentially. Title IV-B, actually, Chris talked about this earlier. This is our 21st Century Grant, but it actually comes through Title IV-B funds. School improvement, we have 4 schools in the SVSU that are have been identified as comprehensive support schools. So that's where that money's coming in. We are in the final year of school improvement. So if you look at our FTEs associated there, we had 9 down to 8.5 last year, down to 6 this year. That money goes away. So you may see in budget season, folks, administrators coming to you saying, we really need to sustain these programs. We need to find a way to pay for them. And then lastly, what I'll leave you with is IDEA. And this one helps support our some special education costs, and you can see a variety of positions that we fund out of that. But again, trying to pull some of those positions that are participating in teacher retirement, swapping them out with folks that are participating through municipal retirement. The distinction between them is if you have to have an educator's license, that puts you into that teacher retirement bucket. Pretty much everybody else that meets the basically time equivalent, working enough hours in a week, then you end up in municipal retirement. So those are the FTEs, and then you can see the dollars associated with that. And again, with IDEA, we also do have to allocate a portion of that money to parentally placed students, which means they're students whose parents are sending them, choosing to send them to an independent school. So I'm not going to get onto the second pages because it's just more of the same, but you can see just these here currently right now. We have 44.3 FTEs funded with just this front page. On the back side, we're in excess of 60 with just grant funds.
Thank you.
Just leave this for a thought in that you see the number of positions that are supported through grants. Renee was nice enough to answer a question from me. If we had to absorb this locally, what would this mean? Absorbing these positions would raise the school budget by about 8% straight off the top. That would be without a cost of living adjustment for all your other salaries, and not including what we anticipate to be a double-digit increase in health insurance. So it would be a significant lift for this community to try to cover all those. So just something to consider as we go into budget season. We talk about what our goals are and what we want to support, and doing some prioritizing, because again, given the uncertainty at the national level and the state level, just being aware of what our exposure.
I did neglect to mention, at the beginning of this year, the feds decided to withhold money. So what you see in the column for FY26, Title II and Title IV, potentially were not going to come through at all. It came through because it was actually part of their the federal FY24 budget. So that money had already been allocated and approved by Congress. The budget that hasn't been approved right now will actually be funding us for next year. So there's a lot of uncertainty right now. But knowing that 2 and 4 were withheld, we don't know what's going to happen with the rest of it. So that was real. It was real this summer.
Yeah. And we benefit from geography, as I have family in Georgia with schools opening on August 1st, and there were programs that were not able to open because they had no money to staff or pay for programming. So we shall see. Any questions for Renee or most? Just have 2 more things, if that's all right. One, I want to start with a positive note. I had the pleasure of attending a football game on Friday. And I spent most of the third quarter standing next to a staff member who was also a proud parent of an MAU student. The student is a proud member of Unified Soccer, Unified Basketball, and is a current enrollee in the community-based learning class. The parent could not stop talking about how positive CBL, that if their student could choose to be in community-based learning all day, they would absolutely choose that. So I'd like to say thank you to Allison Brigham, who by chance is also the coach of both unified teams and community-based learning. So this student athlete spends a whole lot of their time with her, and nothing but praise from the family. So please extend my thank yous to Allison for that workout. Dave had a question about trying to get into the banner more often. I want to thank the editor who has been meeting consistently with Katie West. She's an MAU graduate. She has been an outstanding booster for us in the short period of time that she's been sitting in that seat. We are consistently talking to her about communications. I think I have to give an interview tomorrow. That just dawned on me. Get my hair done before.
They're meeting every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Katie and Sharice.
For communication, Dave, to make it easier, we've been having weekly meetings around communication. Katie met with a group today. If you go to the SVSU website and you go under departments, department tabs on the top, and click on superintendent's office, we will start populating that. So August, September, and October, we're doing presentations. If you missed one, you'll find the presentations there. Newsletters, the podcast, YouTube. We're doing a little YouTube, simple questions with Superintendent Payne. You're going to find all of that there. And that is our hope that we'll just start directing people. Oh, I didn't see that. Where do I get the link? So hopefully that will start to highlight for folks as we move forward. Next week, I'll talk about an additional update for the website. I'm not quite ready for prime time, but more information to come. And then my report is very short. I'm going to just use my last minute to respond to a situation in the community that I became aware of. I want to be really clear. I haven't been on Facebook in a long time. I choose not to participate in that democratic experiment. But I want to read this statement into the record, if that would be all right with the chair. It has come to my attention that recent comments made on social media platforms have targeted members of our SVSU community with hate speech. I recognize that we are living in a time where extreme views are amplified by many and celebrated by the few. I want to clearly state that all members of our community deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. No member of our community should live in fear and wonder if they belong here. As a learning community, we can support each other while calling out those who bully and harass our fellow citizens by responding to harm with accountability, action, and respect. It is my hope that the many will join me in the daily pursuit of making our community and schools safer and more welcoming for all. And thank you. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions on this report?
Beth has her hand
Oh,
raised.
sorry, Beth.
Hi, sorry folks, I was late. I had something done earlier today and I was asleep. But I did catch up. Thank you to Cat TV for recording all of these. And Tim, I'm really glad to hear that those meetings are happening. And Susan, with the editor of the Banner and our director of communications, it's totally a step in the right direction. And I know we talked about that during principal interviews and you know, as an SVSU board, about our goals in highlighting the good things that are happening in our schools for the community. I want to add to that we should remember social media is a great avenue to do that as well. And I think the kids really pay attention to our social media accounts. I follow the Facebook group. I'm actually not even sure if we have an Instagram group, but I know I was lucky enough to accompany the girls golf team to States last week, and it was wonderful to be able to celebrate with them. But they did notice that there was no shout out from their school. There was a shout out from Mount Anthony Country Club, and thanks to them, but they were really looking for that support from home. And so I think consistency in highlighting those achievements when they're happening, after they're happening, much like the AP scores, much like the soccer team and their recent achievements, can just be an additional goal to highlighting.
That's just so you know, they did do a shout out at school in the announcements about the girls golf team. I recognize that doesn't mean that it made it outside of there, but it was done at school.
That's so good to hear. I'll let them know. They weren't there. They all went up on Thursday, so.
And it was announced at the football game too.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
we made sure to get a hold of Mr. Upright. So I'm so glad. Yeah, they went to the football game. They were wearing their medals. Super excited. But I know there are other teams too that We just want to be able to hear all of the amazing things. And if there's anything that you want me as the clerk to do on behalf of the board for individual athletes or teams, let me know. Thank you.
Okay, on to, SBSU report.
SBSU report. I'm happy to give a brief report. It will be brief because we are hosting a German and it's German, it's the closing dinner with the Germans tonight, and I'm gonna head out and go do that. But SBSU, the board, many of whom are on this board, we've had a really, really busy and exciting, I think, last few months. Where the board got together, worked with Tracy Rend from Vermont School Boards Association and Superintendent Payne. And I've been told that by a longstanding member of the SU board, for the first time ever, we have established board goals for the upcoming year, 2025-26 goals, which I have in front of me, yet we're going to, they're still in an edited version that the first group that's going to get to see them fully complete will be the SU board who worked on them. And then we will be giving a much more formal presentation to the other boards within our SU in upcoming meetings. But I can say in broad strokes, the first one is aligning the SBSU strategic priorities to budget investments. We heard a lot about that tonight, but really, what are our strategic priorities as formed by the information we're given, and what are the things, but from a budget perspective, that we need to do to pull those levers and make those things happen. Second one, and there's a number of bullet points under each of these that I'm not going to get into tonight. Second one is cultivating a strong board and superintendent partnership that was talked about a lot, and it's something that we feel really strongly about as an SU board, and I think it's really going to help us achieve the goals, especially those strategic priorities that were mentioned in the first one. And then the last one is it won't be a surprise to anybody, and there's still a lot of because of all the uncertainty, but staying apprised of statewide developments and regional conversations related to Act 73. Obviously, that's going to be in close partnership with Superintendent Payne, who is, on the phone with these people, learning what's happening on a very frequent basis. But it's going to be a matter of what does the board need to do to act or react to those things. So it was a really great experience to be a part of, to work with our board, work with the board members, again, some of whom are present. It was a great experience to be a part of, watching the process evolve from probably in the first one, after we had sat there for, it was a roughly 2 hours extra, maybe 3. Maybe 3. It was a long one, and I think I heard some kind of like, what are we doing? Oh my God, can we just get out of here? I'm starving. To the last one where even some of the skeptics in the room on that first one were giving hugs and saying this is one of the most amazing things that we've ever done as a board. And the way everybody came together, shared ideas, disagreed with one another, agreed with one another, but had some really great conversations, was really inspiring. And my hope as the SU board chair is that it can inspire similar work with the other boards within the SU, so that we can see what's happening at the SU level, see what's happening with the superintendent's goals, which are also closely feeding with these, see what's happening there, and then how can all of these boards work in a way that is pulling in the same direction and not pulling in opposite directions. It was a great thing to be a part of, and I'm excited for what's to come as a result. And I'm gonna go celebrate our German.
one question, but I think
Sure.
we will have an update at, next meeting on assistant superintendent, on the assistant superintendent, interim assistant superintendent. Is that
That's
Okay.
fine.
perfect? That's great. Julie, was that right?
Any questions?
It's for dinner?
We had for dinner, yeah.
I was just told it's at Madison's.
Oh,
I better head there.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
A very quick chairs report, because we have other people that want to be out, and need to be out. I have not received any, requests, or at least through my email, I don't know if you have for, registration for the conference for the school board at the end of the month. I know
Do you
they,
have one member
You
who
do.
plans to attend?
okay,
And
Leanne will be there, okay, and then I am
Also,
registered, okay, and I think the deadline is this evening maybe, and I need to register. I know that you have a conflict, is that for those?
I will have a designee there.
You have a designee. Okay, sounds good, but there's just a last minute plug for anyone else.
Kristen, does Amy know that you're going?
I do not think so.
I will let her know.
And I will
So
register.
I want
this
to
evening.
connect you with two people when you're there.
Okay.
If anyone wants the information, I can forward it on. My only other last comment is, I just want to say thanks, Tim, for the comments about the hate speech, that was online, you know. I know it's not inside our wall, like physically inside our walls, but that, like Beth says, that the, you know, the kids, the students, they see the social media, and it permeates like the culture in the school. And it's my personal belief that the comments online don't represent our values, and we're fortunate to have dedicated teachers to create safe, inclusive classrooms, and the teachers and the adults in the building deserve the same. So that would be that's my final. If anyone else has anything else?
The warrant circulating.
Yes.
Sitting at that end.
So with nothing else,
Oh,
I have,
that hand up?
oh, sorry, Beth, go ahead.
So sorry. Thank you for that statement, Stephanie. I think that represents my feelings and understanding as well. And apologies if I missed this in the previous part of the meeting. Was there anything said about the legislative breakfast that was held? Who attended? Who of our legislators
I missed
attended?
that.
Yes.
That, I did not, I was gonna include it in the SU because it's connected to an Act 73 update that I was gonna start with at the SU board, if that's okay.
Okay, I'll watch that one. Thanks.
And that going forward, are we set dates that should go further out? Then, like, do we have them set for every?
For the legislative, it's a new, I mean, I'm restarting it. I'm
Okay.
happy to plan out farther.
If you just a little bit more notice that way.
And you
I
passed the
think
warrants
people
or Nelson?
Remember.
Yep.
That would be great. Any other comments?
It just is only month.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
to
motion
adjourn.
made by Lisa. By Dave. Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Early one.
So.
One, and as you know, with 25.
Not. Yes, we call the ones that I